What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back again with another unboxing and review, and today we're finally checking out a Batfleck. And I say that because I never had the pleasure of owning the 1.0, so I'm super excited to have the 2.0, especially considering that awesome modular diorama base and the free head sculpts we get. So guys, you can tell I'm excited, so without further ado, let's get stuck right in. Alright, so kicking things off with the box as we do this unboxing. Unfortunately, mine did get a little ding in that top right corner, but that's not the end of the world. We don't collect boxes. As much as I love them, we're here for the figure. So you can see everything it comes with, pretty much a standard Hot Toys box at this time, nothing we haven't seen before. It says Batman, it's got that gold BVS logo. You pull that off and you do have this window tray inside and this really cool artwork on the back, which I really dig. I absolutely love that. I would love to have that as a poster. I think that would make a really nice display piece. Obviously we pull this out and we do then have our clamshell, which contains all the accessories that come with the figure, including the grappling gun, the parts of the grapple for the grappling gun, grenade launcher, hands, batarangs, and all that good stuff that we'll check out in due time. But let's check out the head sculpt, starting off with Ben Affleck. And guys, I think they did an absolutely fantastic job on this figure. I really do. I think they nailed this sculpt. I think the likeness is not a 10 out of 10. There are certain angles, but I can pretty much see Ben Affleck in this all day long. The sculpted hair is really nice, and of course you do get magnetic hair pieces for the front as well. Yes, Ben Affleck does have a hair system. But all in all, great sculpt. Really do like the likeness, and it's only one of 3. Speaking of which, here's the articulated cowl. And if you needed any reason to pick up this set, this would be it. It gives you so much better articulation and dynamic options for poses. It's a little bit limited up and down, but you do get more when you pop it on the figure. And unfortunately, you do get this neck connector again. However, on this figure, they've done them slightly better. Then of course, this is the magnetic hairpiece that you get for Batfleck. And honestly, it's easy to switch these as 1, 2, 3, and there we go. Got the other hairpiece in. It is just a magnet. Honestly, I don't think they could have made it any easier whatsoever to swap those over. And our first letdown of the figure is probably this face sculpt, not one that I really love all that much. And then of course we have Bats himself, and do you know what? This figure is epic. I'm really happy with what they've done. I think it's a worthy 2.0. There's enough significant changes that make this worth it. The articulated cowl and the Ben Affleck sculpt notwithstanding. But look at this, guys. The detail in the suit is beautiful. You get a drape cape and a wide cape, which we'll check out in a bit. I didn't realize this, but it's kind of a matte feel to his cowl there, which is quite interesting. But you can see the abs are nicely sculpted. You've got all the stitching and stitch work throughout the entire figure. He also looks quite intimidating. I know people are complaining about the bulkiness. I think it's all right. So we do get double bends in the elbows, which is really nice to see considering his bulk. A nice bit of elbow, bicep swivel as well, and you do get good range of motion through the shoulders. Just be careful on how much it stretches the suit material, because there is a bit of pull, especially when you go up to the side, and there's a little bit of bunching, but not too bad. This is where it struggles a little bit with kind of forward movement of their arm. You can get it slightly above shoulder height, but it does put a lot of strain on those seams there. So just be mindful. You know, pose your figures, but be mindful. Double bend on that knee, although only just, again, because of the bulk. He's been hitting hamstring day. Nice side swivel on the ankles as well. So in terms of dynamic poses, you'll be able to plant him quite effectively, which is really nice to see. When you've got him in a side lunging pose, having the ability to swivel the ankle really helps. Now, in terms of getting his knee up, you do need to lift up his belt here, as you can see. But all in all, you can't get his knee that high, to be completely honest with you. And it kind of goes up, but it kind of drops down as well, as you can see there. So that'll be interesting to see how that kind of limits our posing in any way, especially in kind of, not flying because he doesn't fly, but grappling poses. But you do get a good bit of split action on his legs there. And as I said before, you can see the swivel just to make that look a little bit more realistic. And this is the drape cape, and I do like what they've done. The material feels nice, the shading's nice, but I don't love the kind of, it looks like it's been cut by scissors at the end to make it look tattered, and they never quite pull it off. But it is a nice drape cape. It's not the best. If you really want the best, you could go custom, I suppose. And there is a zip, which we'll mention later, that helps you switch the sculpts. All right, onto the base. So this is the bottom part of the base. Again, this base is fantastic. The modular design on its own, really, really worth it. And I think they painted this nice. It is a soft plastic, but it looks good. And the brickwork on this, man, the brickwork looks fantastic. The rocks at the bottom, I'll be honest, they're a little bit soft, but everything else looks really nice and HD. That ladder, you can extend that as high as you want. Again, it's kind of modular, so you can put that ladder a lot higher than they've shown us in the photos and than I'll do in this review, to be honest. But it's a really nice base, and I think they did a fantastic job designing this, and I'd like to see more. And here it is all put together, and you can see this is a bit of a showstopper. And yes, guys, this will fit in a detolf as well. So if you did want to display it in a detolf with this, you definitely could. And also the modular design, it's really easy to do. You just pop it out like so, spin it around, and it pops straight into the other end. And you can see you've got a slot for the flight pole on both sides as well, which is really, really nice. Also inside here, you get these two little stands for the other two sculpts. That's a really nice touch from Hot Toys. I'm going to give them some brownie points for including those. I wish they do it more often. And as for the wired cape, honestly, this is one of the best wired capes I have received from a Hot Toys figure in a long time. The wires are numerous enough going down the cape. They're strong enough. You can get some good articulation. The only thing I wish they included was a wire along the bottom as well. With the BVS Superman, that really helped create a more realistic and natural looking cape flows as it blows in the wind. So that'll be something I'd like to see him include in the future. As for the accessories, he comes with a decent amount. You do get the grenade launcher, which has an extendable stock, but that's the only articulation that I could see you get in it, but it's painted nicely and it does the job. Next, we have his bat brand that he uses to brand his enemies, aka at this point, let's face it, victims possibly, but it's nice to have it, so I'm glad that they included it. It was a big part of the film that I was shocked by. And then of course you do get this grapple extension. This kind of has like a swirly effect in it, which is kind of nice, as opposed just to the straight line, but you do get both, as we'll see shortly. Here is his grappling gun. Now this is beautifully done. The wood grain on the handle looks nice and realistic. The paintwork is really well done. I absolutely love this accessory. Of course, then we do get this straight extension of the grappling gun, which is also really good as well, and something I might use a bit more in the different poses that we do with the grappling gun, but we will see, time will tell. Then we get a whole bunch of hands. These are nice. Whether these are different to the original, I'm not too sure. I did have the Nightmare Batman, and these look pretty much the same. They're nicely painted, and they have good amount of work on them. It makes them look like real leather gloves. Of course, we do get some batarangs included, which are nicely painted and detailed, and be careful with these, ladies and gents, because they're definitely sharp on the corners. Then we get some grenades and grappling heads as well, and finally this peg, which we'll need to use for the cape. Alright, so I really wanted to show you guys how you swap the two heads around, because if you're a newer collector, it may be a bit daunting, but it's relatively simple enough. So all you do is you pop off the head that comes on the figure, you pull out this bit here, which should just pop off quite nicely and easily, because we don't need that for that head sculpt because it's not quite as hollow inside. So then of course we need to take that and put that on the body. You do have to unzip the suit, which again isn't too difficult, and that kind of reveals the neckline of the figure, because we do have to line up these grooves with that on the head sculpt. I would recommend slotting in one side nice and easy first, and then kind of filling it in with the other side. Once you've done this, just kind of adjust and futz until it's right, and then it just clicks in place. Zip up the back of the suit, or you can leave it undone if you want. But then we need that peg from the accessories. You take the cowl or the cape, line it up with that hole and pop the peg in, and that will hold the cape in place. And then the only thing that's left to do is futz with the cape so it's sitting nicely, and pop that head sculpt straight onto the figure, and voila, we are done. And there he is in all of his glory. And you know what? This figure looks fantastic. Now I'm gonna have him posed up with the wide cape throughout most of this because I do think it gives so much more life to a museum pose, because that's what this one is. It's kind of a museum pose. And do you know what? If you pose him right, he looks big and bulky. I do think his shoulders could be a little bit bigger, a little bit more caps, like he's been doing more lateral raises. But all in all, I think the proportions are really nice. If you tilt his head forwards, it gives him the illusion of his traps being bigger. Although, of course, yes, I would like that they'd have actually given him larger traps. And I am tempted to modify this. Now, as for the sculpts, really do like the sculpts. The faceplates themselves are also quite nice. We're going to go through them. I like this faceplate. This one as well, I think is actually right. And I like that we get different faceplates for different emotions. But the issue is definitely this last one. Now, you can kind of use this. It's not the worst one we've seen, but it's not the best either. And then as for the articulation on the cow, I love it. This is worth the price of admission alone for the deluxe. You can swivel it all the way to the side, you get a little bit of up, and you get a good amount of down as well, because the neck pay extends down into the body. And now that Ben Affleck sculpt is absolutely fantastic. I kind of prefer this messy head look as opposed to this cleaner cut look, but that's just me. But honestly guys, I think they got a really strong likeness here. I'd probably say this is like an 8 out of 10. The side profile here loses it a little bit, but all in all, this is a really strong likeness. I kind of wish I had two of this figure, one cowled and one to display with this sculpt all the time. And switching out the hair pieces, super easy to do. Look, it literally just pops on, pops off. The magnet's strong, it hasn't fallen off at all. Really nice, and I wish we'd see him do this more with our figures. Good head sculpts aside, there's so much more to this figure. Just the outfit itself. I know obviously this is designed by DC more than actually Hot Toys, but there's so much detail in this suit, from all the rips and stitching and tears through to the ab molds and just all that detail in it. Again, it reminds me of the Black Adam suit, which was really impressive, but they've done amazing work on the suit material itself and the elasticity as well. I've posed it a fair bit, spring us right back. Talking of poses, it's time to see what this guy can do. And you know what? You can do quite a lot. And a lot of that is down to that articulated cowl and the wired cape, but you also do get a good amount of movement through the upper body, especially the shoulders, which means you can pull off poses like this one. And I was even able to incorporate that faceplate that I don't like very much. So I even managed to find a use for that. So far, so good with the posing. Just be mindful of those joints. There are seam lines here, and it does put a bit of strain in these poses, so just be careful. And yes, you can pull off the ladder pose that we've seen in the promo shots, although it does come with a bit of a caveat. Beware of that ladder. It does create a bit of a lean, and that's because the figure himself is quite heavy. But all in all, I think this is pulled off really nicely, and it's such a good use of a base. Why does Hot Toys not give us bases like this more often? This isn't even a DX release. It boggles my mind. Alright guys, we're getting to the end now, so that of course means it's time to give my rating and my final thoughts. And first of all, for a rating, I'm giving this a 6 out of 7. I think they've done an absolutely amazing job. The figure wins are definitely the articulated cowl. It's great for posing, especially dynamic poses. The wired and drape cape, the fact that Hot Toys are finally giving us both, is amazing. The base, the modular design, good real estate to pose him on it as well. The suit detail, the Ben Affleck likeness, and again, the free head sculpts. Now, if I had to give it some letdowns that makes this not a 7, the third faceplate could be better, if I'm being honest. The articulation is somewhat limited in certain areas, especially in like raising the knee. The bottom of the cape does look a bit cheap, where it's kind of giving that frayed look, and the proportions are overall really strong, but the neck looks like it's a bit too long. He could have a bit more width in the abdomen as well, or maybe more of a V taper even. And the ladder on the base is a bit too weak to kind of hold what I'm going to say is their signature pose. Right guys, that is all for today. Thanks for stopping by and checking out another unboxing review. As always, this is Jim Collector, and I hope to see you in another video soon.